Welcome to our next episode of Coffee with the Candidates. We have Justin Frick with us here today. He is a candidate for the Yankton School Board with the election April 8th, the second Tuesday in April. Absentee voting will be available, and if you go to yanktonsd.com, we will have all of the information on our website. Justin, thank you for joining us here today.
Hey, thank you, Nancy. I appreciate being here. I'll just introduce myself here quick. My name is Justin Frick, born and raised in Yankton, South Dakota, married to my lovely wife. She'll appreciate me saying that, Danielle. Together we have 4 children. Their ages are 7, 4, 4, and 2. I am a graduate of North Dakota State. I have a bachelor's degree in rangeland science. I currently own and operate a farm just northeast of Yankton. And most people in town probably know me by my nickname, which is Bubba, which has followed me since I was a little kid. And other than that, yep, that's just a brief info for what I've got going.
So would you prefer me to call you Bubba or Justin?
You can call me Justin. We'll be
Okay.
formal today.
So what sets you apart from the other candidates that are running for the school board?
I guess at the time of this interview, I don't know exactly who all the candidates could be. It's still open to petitions. But looking back to some of the candidates that we've had in the past, I do know that my background in agriculture is probably going to set me apart first and foremost. Very high percentage of school funding comes from property taxes, and a large portion of Yankton County is agriculture, or at least zoned agriculture. So with my background in agriculture, running for the school board where most of that money goes, I think that gives me a unique perspective as far as what some candidates have versus me.
So can you share a little bit more about, from the agriculture perspective, how you ended up in Yankton compared to staying up in North Dakota?
I was born and raised here. I went to college there.
Okay.
Got my degree, went and traveled, worked outside the state for a few years, came back here, did a traveling job. It's hard to move a farm. My family's farm was northeast of town, so that's kind of what brought us here. And eventually my wife moved back here too. She was living in a different community as well, and we chose Yankton to make a family based on a lot of different things, but the farm being one of them.
Wonderful, thank you for that. So in your opinion, what is the role of a school board member?
I'd say it basically comes down to 3 basic topics that we could go into depth in a lot of them. First and foremost is a budget, creating budget, staying on budget, reviewing those and approving. Beyond that, policy change. I think we saw a few years ago, policy change can be difficult, especially in the COVID times. Scary. Hopefully that doesn't come back around again. And third, to be a governing body for the superintendent. Everybody needs a boss.
So what are your thoughts on the strategic plan for the Yankton School District facilities, which includes the addition of Trailhead Learning Center and the decommissioning of Webster School?
For that, I like to look at the mission statement for the school, which is to optimize student potential for success in a global society. I think so much is changing so fast. Our world is huge, but it's getting smaller every day with technology. And as with anything, time catches up with everything, and sometimes facilities need to be phased out and new stuff can be brought in. Like the Trailhead Learning Center, I think it's a great addition to our school system. I'm going to have 3 kids that are going to utilize that facility. I'm excited to get them in there. I'm excited to see what's going on in there. I'm excited that the board and the community backed that project to see that come alive. Wasn't 2 generations ago, both my grandparents went to one-room public schools out in the country. And I'm sure everyone thought, well, we cannot move that to town. But as with everything, time changes, and we need to change with it. I think the plan has been laid out nice. It brings in a lot of people from the community. It's called, they have steering committees that are made up of the teachers and different faculty and staff, including parents and outside members from the school district, so that they can basically give their piece of advice on the strategic plan or a specific portion of it. And it really collaborates well to help us all move forward together.
It is quite interesting when you think about, because I'm also a graduate of Yankton High School, of what it was like when we graduated compared to what the school district is now. So when you talk about that transition and change, that really is continual.
It's constant, and And if you're not keeping up on it and sharing ideas and communicating them effectively, you'll get left behind. You don't want to put yourself in a bubble.
So with all the potential changes at the national and state level with the Department of Education, what should Yankton be doing to prepare?
There's a lot of things that are out of your control and get passed down, especially in the school system. No one has a crystal ball, but I think it comes down to, if you have a manage or handle on your budget, and you have a handle on where your money needs to be spent and where it is most effectively spent, it's easier to absorb change if you know exactly where you are. And I see that in my life a lot with agriculture. I got to know my numbers, otherwise I don't know exactly where I'm going to end up. So as those things come through, communicating the change and effectively implementing a new strategy. And we won't be the only ones dealing with it, because if it comes down from a national level or a state level, every school district in the state will. And I think communicating collaboratively with other communities would be one way to mitigate some of that and be prepared as that comes through.
You're really spot on when you talk about having your life, your career in agriculture, and how it's happening also at the national level directly impacts your household. So that's a good correlation between those two.
Year to year, you don't know what you're going to get, but having a solid foundation and understanding what you can control certainly helps that. And I think on the board, understanding what you can control there and having a good outlook on where that needs to go would help you basically manage those as they come through.
So what are some of your budgeting priorities for the Yankton School District to set the district up for long-term success?
I think an open dialogue and communication with the professionals in the field, teachers, administrators, all throughout the school system. They do it for a living. They know what they need. They know what they're going to need, and to communicate effectively between them to understand what their needs are to put our students in position to be successful is a high priority for me for long-term success.
So what about career and technical ed? How do you think that plays into the overall budget and the importance of what we are offering our high school kids?
Career and technical ed, obviously no one goes to school professionally. You're hoping to get further on in life, and so as that, we need to support students, and so when they get out to the community, that they are productive members of the community. And like I said, I think teachers would know that, and principals in the most detail. They work with our kids every single day to see what they would need to help prepare them for life outside of this, being a student.
At the state legislature this year, and for the viewing audience, we are recording this February 18th, so things might change between when this question is answered and when legislature is done, but educational savings account were proposed. Do you support educational savings accounts? Why or why not?
Well, the latest I've seen is that they were voted down in Pierre for now, not that they're not going to come back. What I also read is we'll probably see them come through again. Excuse me, I am a product of a public school system. My wife is, our kids are going to be, our parents were. Anytime I see a bill that's going to take funding away from public education, I'm going to be skeptical of it. I'm going to want to know why. I think we have a lot of really good educators and staff in our community that work really hard to prepare our students for the next level of life, like we discussed. And anytime you take funding away from them, it's not going to make their job easier or better. So I think we've got to be really careful with how we fund bills such as that. And so if it's taking away from public school systems, I find that concerning.
So partnerships and collaboration with other entities are critically important. Can you tell us what you would do to help strengthen existing relationships and grow new ones?
Yeah, there's a lot of really good existing partnerships out there right now. Our school system does a fantastic job of getting out there. The Boys and Girls Club, working with Mount Marty with the athletics, the police department, communicating with the emergency services. All of them play an integral role in our public school success. Continuing that communication and looking into other school systems to see what they have going on is one way you could pull in, I guess, more. But I think right now Yankton does a pretty good job of being collaborative with other entities in the community.
So in your opinion, what is needed in the Yankton School District to provide children with the best educational opportunities?
I think, as with anything, continuing to be open-minded, listening to the community's concerns, listening to the school system, the employees of the school system's concerns. Communication between everyone is critical to success. If you're not being heard or understood, it can be difficult and frustrating at times, whether you're a parent or a teacher or a taxpayer in the community. With my 4 children coming through over the next 16 years or so through the school systems, I will do everything in my power to make sure that that success is a top priority.
So, and this is kind of just an off-the-cuff question, but is it your kids going into the school system is what is motivating you to run, or is there some other reason that's motivating you?
Not directly, but yes. I mean, your kids are always going to motivate you to be the best you can be. Running for school board, I thought, was an opportunity to get out there and be a contributing member to society. I think a voice for agriculture was a big part of it. Having that that group of people represented in office would be good, especially with all of the funding where it gets pooled from. Also, I had a great experience as a Yankton student. I think a lot of people have with the vouchers and other things coming through. I want Yankton to continue to be a strong school system in the state. So I'd like to contribute to that success and to continue that on.
So do you have anything else that you want to share with the viewing audience that was not a part of a previously asked question?
No, I just wanted to say thank you, obviously, to you, Nancy. I've had overwhelming support, positive support, much more than I expected, that encouraged me to run. So after I started actually talking about running just with a handful of closer friends, and everyone's like, yeah, you should do it. I honestly thought I was gonna get like, what are you nuts? Sometimes I might be a little bit, but that's just the way I am. But I've been really humbled and encouraged, and I'm really excited for this to move forward and to see what it all entails.
So should you be elected, what's going to be the best way for constituents to communicate with you? Email, phone calls, what works best for you?
I mean, our cell phones are with us 24 hours a day. In email, I've got phone calls. I do drop-offs and pickups every day. My routine is pretty set, but I'm open to any form of communication, whether it's a phone call or an email or a drop in person, or people stop by my house sometimes. It's all good. We have a nice community. I feel it's a safe, right-sized community for what I'm raising my family in. So communication to get a hold of me any way they want. I don't know yet if my phone number is public out there, but any concerns, I'd obviously be willing to hear them.
Well, Justin, thank you very much for joining us today. In the viewing audience, thank you again for watching the video here. And April 8th is the day that we want to make sure you get out and vote.
Thank you.